Hey, welcome back to another Marathon Marketing Moment. Now, in our last program, Mark Weber and I, Mark is we're co-hosts for this idea, and remember, Mark's background is more on the professional photographer side. Mine is more on the business and marketing, but we both share a common love for this industry and an absolute 14 karat desire to help you raise the bar on everything you're doing. In fact, our bottom line is you can't create images that tug at people's heartstrings if your own heart isn't in it. So we've put together these short podcasts in an effort to help you with ideas. Now, on our last podcast, we talked about the importance of blogging and shared a lot of different ideas from both of us on tips and things to do to make your blog stronger, how to have a blog, how to do it. But one topic we didn't get into very much were just ideas of things to write about. And I don't know about you, Mark, but I can't tell you how many times people have looked at me and said, well, there's nothing going on where I live. There's nothing to write about.
I know. I hear that. And I just think, well, you're just not in that mindset.
That's it.
That's what we're here to help with.
Yeah, so we're gonna get rid of some baggage today, and the baggage we want to help you get rid of is the stress of trying to run your business in some very difficult times. Although things are really starting to open up a lot, and the pandemic is becoming a word of the past. In fact, we're not going to refer to it today, and that sense of family is so important. So I don't know, Mark, you want to lead off on one set of topics that people could be writing about for blog content?
Absolutely. Well, there's so many. And being a photographer and a family first person, there's so much I want to say. So I'll start with the technical side because with photography, a lot of people don't understand the importance of a direction of light and how that influences how a person looks. And there's a reason why professional photographers spend so much time learning different light patterns and how to make people's um, different flaws look less flawed. And so it comes down to light source. And that's one of the things that you could definitely blog about is the technical side of um, a mom who's maybe thinking of taking pictures with her iPhone and how to understand direction of light and adjust for that when taking pictures because I see so many candids by people that are just friends and the sun is right behind people and they've got their family in shade and it's hard to see and if you try to compensate for it it just goes all grainy and it's just awful. So that's one of the tips I would start with writing about. Even just that alone is just how to understand a better position of light with your phone camera.
Yeah, take it a step further even. I mean, how many pictures have we all seen? And in fact, it's really funny. My mother swore there was no camera she'd ever used that didn't cut off heads. And my dad kept buying her more point and shoot. This is all pre-digital. And he'd buy her another point and shoot. And sure enough, that would cut off heads too. It's obviously in the camera. But how many images have we all seen with backlighting where they're shooting? I mean, the sun is right at their backs. And then one other tip that you could include in there. Now this works for you in Nebraska. It doesn't work for me in Florida here. But people go out and they want to take pictures of their kids, and it's a bright sunny day and there's snow everywhere. And that little electric eye, even in the best of phones, if you're not paying attention, you wind up with these underexposed, very blue images because people aren't paying attention to what's going on in the lighting around them. So
Yeah, yeah.
lighting works, and there are lots more. Think about everything that you do every day as a photographer that you completely take for granted. Um, I got one that's more of a project oriented piece, and that's to do community profiles as a content piece. Now, most of you have lived in the same place. Some of you have just recently moved, but think about once you've been in a place a year or so, you've developed a favorite pizza place. You've probably got a pharmacist that you've had to call more than once for help on something. You might have a family doctor. You might have a minister, a choir director, the the person at the supermarket and that's doing the produce. So think about taking an image, and I'm going to use a pizza place because everybody's got their favorite pizza place. And let's assume that you got a pizza place in town that you love a lot. You're gonna shoot an environmental portrait. It could be the owner, it could be the chef. The owner and the chef could be the same. You've got him or her making a pizza in the back, and you're doing this really nice looking environmental portrait of them. And then you're featuring it on your website with 50 to 100 words about why you like this place so much. What's your favorite pizza? How you got to know these people? Anything. It kind of becomes a little backstory on your favorite pizza place. Now you're going to publish. Let's assume you came up with, I don't know, 5 to 10 people in your community that were really special that you wanted to photograph. You're going to feature that image once a week. You're going to do a community profile. You're going to feature it on your website, and then you're going to print out a hard copy, and you're going to put it in one of those inexpensive, you can find them online, $2 to $3, Lucite easel stand frames. They're just at a slight angle. They look like the letter L. You're going to slide that piece in there, and on the top, before you print it, you're going to put the words, as appearing on Skip's blog on this date, and you're going to take it in and you're going to give it to them, and I can guarantee they're going to put it right by the register. Now what you've done is you've supported somebody in the community, and you've given your readership a reason to understand why you're so good, why you're a photographer.
I love that idea. That's my favorite idea that we've kicked around for a while. This is just great.
That's your favorite out of the two so far today?
Yeah. No. I'm the same way. You can use it on a charitable thing, same type of thing, networking with other businesses that have the like-minded customers and feature them just like you talked about there. And you can also post that on your website, and just have that portrait of that business owner and say, as seen in, and then you mention your blog. So there's another place of advertisement that you can do that. But with the consumer, they make so many little things that you can purchase for your phone, like even the grips that you can attach to the back for steadier pictures, or the little tabletop tripods. You've seen even the little telephoto attachments you can use on your cameras, although the newer cameras anymore are just getting so sophisticated with the zoom itself. But fill flash, knowing when to turn that little fill flash on, or even just using a flashlight. It's amazing how that addition, if you use a daylight flashlight, you can turn that into a main light. It's really fun. I could actually enhance this now, knowing some of the stuff I learned off that blog.
Well, it's a great way to get your name out there. Here's one that I've got on my list that I like a lot. Now, this is kind of a funny one because it's something that you would talk about in content, but it's something that you want to do for your clients. And in the height of the craziness 2 years ago, a photographer up in Northern California, Stephen Goetz, started doing coloring book pages for his clients. So he took portrait shots that he had done of past clients. He also does a lot of animal photography, often just at your local zoo, because you can get great images if you know what you're doing. But he would go ahead and he'd take those family shots, throw them into Photoshop or Lightroom, strip the color, turn them into line art. And that's something that even I know how to do. And I am the low-tech poster child of the photo industry. And he'd send them back to the clients as coloring book pages. Now, think about mom and dad, and especially clients that have young children. This just becomes a fun thing to do.
Yes.
And being able to talk about it in your blog, it's not something that you'd be making money off of. It's something, he didn't do it. He did it as a gesture of goodwill with moms and dads who were stuck at home with kids as everybody hunkered down. But the whole idea is this is ongoing. Anybody with small children is always looking for something to do, especially when you're out to dinner and you want to keep the kids occupied, which is why so many restaurants have, Denny's, you're going to get something to color and a box of 6 crayons for the kids.
Yep.
Well, now you can actually put together those coloring book pages, and I just thought that was brilliant.
That is.
Yeah.
Another fabulous. I never thought of that, and boy, I can see that just being a home run.
Well, I can see it as a gag gift that you would do for a friend at a birthday party or retirement party, is to take pictures of them over the years. Again, strip the color, turn them into line art, and give them a nice box of Crayolas. In
Yeah.
fact, I've got a couple of friends that may get that this year.
It's also, it leads you to thinking, what to look for when hiring a photographer. People that do that sort of thing with their customers are very sensitive, and they know, and they've probably been around, so it builds trust. But when you start making a list of hiring a professional photographer, it's um, it's humbling when you start thinking about all that it takes to create the most personal portrait of someone, because you have to quickly analyze, their features and how you're going to light them, and you have a few minutes to get to know them over the phone, and then if you do a consultation, but then also when they come in, by the time you're photographing them, you're trying to bring out what you've learned about them, uh, and their personality in a portrait. And that's something that, that's why it would be helpful to write an article in there about what to look for when hiring a photographer.
The only thing I want to remind everybody is make sure that you answer each question in a positive way. Because if you're putting up a post and you don't qualify as a photographer somebody would want to hire, and everybody's sitting there saying, come on, who would ever do that? I have seen people talk about what you want to look for in a photographer, and yet their own website or their own work doesn't match the criteria they're putting out. So, yeah, remember to match your own criteria. Hey, I've got an easy, fun one because we're almost out of time, and we're giving you guys there are a bunch of ideas here, but I happen to love Throwback Thursday and using throwback images as a way to remind mom that, hey guys, it just might be time to do a new family portrait. And this is where you can go back to your old images. You can talk about things that you've learned over the years. You can talk about how styles change. The whole idea here is because women make 98% of the purchase decisions to hire a professional photographer. Now, this is in the portrait social categories. You want to go ahead and share ideas with them on things they can do with family portraiture. And when you take a throwback image that shows everything from, by the way, I don't know if wide lapels and narrow ties are back in or they're still out, but if you show the trends in styles or where the hemline's gone over the years and things that you photographed, especially family portraiture, being able to show images of your own family and how the kids have grown, because everybody knows this, that's anybody that's over 40 and has children in their 30s recognizes how fast time goes by. And boy, your kid today is not the same kid tomorrow morning. They're taller, they're wiser, they're more of a smartass. We've all experienced that one. But the whole idea is use Throwback Thursday as a way to remind your clients that it just might be time for a new updated portrait.
And record video of them while you've got them together, when they are together. I interviewed my grandmother from Switzerland, and when I was a sophomore in high school on an old 8-track, and it's one of the most treasured things that I own today. The only thing I wish I would have had and been able to afford at the time was a video camera to go with it. But it is gold. And I just, you just start with, what was it like when you were a child, and, what changes in technology have you seen? And in her case, she moved from Switzerland to America, and why, and with World War II and her concerns and the hardships that they faced. And it was, and still is, a wealth of information about our family. And I shared it with all the relatives and whatnot. And I ended up doing the same thing with my father-in-law. And it's that one I did get on video. But, while you've got them together, make sure that they take take action on that because they're not going to be around forever.
Well, I want to take it one step further, and here we go again, everybody. We're over 15 minutes. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
I want to actually put a title on that. I think all of you should have a legacy program. Now, a legacy program includes exactly what Mark just described. Everybody today has a camera. You don't have to be formally trained as a videographer. We're not looking for you to win an Oscar on this. And yet it will win an Oscar in terms of everybody's heartstrings in your family. Take the time to do a video, put it down as part of the package you offer. Also, to take it a step further, and Michelle Celentano just talked about this recently in a workshop we taught together with Myron Fields at IUSA in January. Remember when you've been hired to do a family portrait, ask about grandma, ask about grandpa. Everybody forgets, older generations, a lot of times you're doing the shoot, you're doing a portrait session as a gift for an older member of the family, and they're obviously going to get it. But if they're in the area, remind your client, let's get them out of the nursing home, or let's photograph, let's do the shoot over by the nursing home so we can include the other generation in the shot. And we keep saying the same thing, this renewed sense of family in the United States. And we learned something over the last few years that nobody's going to be around forever. But being able to bring grandma and grandpa or whoever is still around and have them included in a family portrait is one piece. And then being able to offer exactly what you talked about, Mark. I mean, it kills me that I'm in the industry and I lost my mom to Alzheimer's about 8 years ago, and I lost my dad 5 or 6 years ago, and never did that. Now I've got short video clips that I cherish, but what a thing it would be if I had sat down with my dad and said, tell me how you and mom met. Give me the stories. Now I know the stories and I heard them over the years, but I don't have them documented in his words. And that's what you guys need to offer your clients, is to actually have a formal legacy program.
And you could take it one step further by including that in the portrait. What I mean by that is, if you've never heard of Live Portrait, there's a software that allows you to take your smartphone and hold the image up to that image, and it'll bring to life whatever video you've attached with that. And I'll put a link in our blog article about that, but it is absolutely gold. And you can do it, with your regular portrait sessions in between, maybe, I think you've got like up to 3 minutes recording time, but you can attach any video you want with Live Portraits to any image when you register it. And as long as the people have that software, they can view that. So I'll put some information in the blog article about it.
Yeah, something to remind everybody, because we're out of time. I'm gonna sort of do a modified quote from a mutual friend that Mark and I absolutely cherish, and that's Tim Walden. Tim and Beverly Walden are in Kentucky, but both of them in their workshops, they talk about what you're actually providing to the client. It's all in the experience. It's all in building trust. Yes, you've got to have the skill set for the finished product, and that's really important. But Tim and Beverly have built a reputation that just keeps their clients coming back. It's not just because the work is so phenomenal. It's about the experience that they have when being with Tim and Beverly. And it's about creating not a portrait, but a new family heirloom. And that's what everybody needs to keep in the back of their mind. This is about building trust with your clients.
Boy, you said it.
Yeah, and nobody does it better than those two. Hey, we're out of time, so let's close with, where do people go to find you, Mark?
I'm available at my email, markw@marathonpress.net, or you can call 800-228-0629, extension 283.
And I'm always at the same place. It's Skip at MEI500.com. I'm Skip Cohen on Facebook. I'm Skip Cohen on Twitter. And we would love to hear feedback from you guys. If you've got any suggestions, if you've got any specific topics, Mark and I are here. We're cut from the same cloth on this topic. We're here to help. We love this industry. We've both been in it a long time. There's nothing else we would rather be doing. So don't be afraid to email us or pick up a phone, whatever, and find us and ask for help. And that's it for another episode of Marathon Marketing Moments. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Stay safe and healthy and enjoy the good weather that is finally showing up on all of our doorsteps.